Hey guys, Josh here, and in this video, I'll be sharing with you some beginner mistakes to avoid and things I wish I knew earlier in Linked Banner of the Spark. This is a new action RPG combining roguelite and town building elements. It can be played either solo or with friends, and it's available now on Steam, Xbox Series X and S, and PlayStation 5. Thanks to the publisher Dreamhaven for sponsoring this video. If you've not played the game yet, feel free to check it out using the link in the description, and let's begin. My first mistake could most likely have been avoided if I had paid closer attention, but it is something I didn't figure out until I was a few hours in, so I'm guessing I won't be the only one. Do not make the mistake of ignoring the weapons you find in chests. When I started, I used to open every single chest, grab the health, the armor. I would quickly look to see if the weapon was stronger than my current one, but if it was not, I would keep going and leave it behind. That's until I realized that by pressing tab if playing with a keyboard, you can see a lot more detailed information on a weapon, all of the mods that are on it, and that makes it much easier to compare and see if it's an upgrade from your current one. If you're only interested in the core of a weapon, which if you've not started playing yet is what allows you to inflict status effects like burn, freeze, corrosion, then you can press C, it will make the weapon disappear, but its core will be transferred to yours. Your first few weapons will not have any cores on them, so it is good to always try grabbing one at the beginning of a run. If you don't care about the core or anything on a weapon, then you can press X, which will destroy it, but you will receive 25 scraps in return. So do that at the very least, but don't just leave these weapons behind like I did. With all of the scraps you collect, you'll be able to open the chests that are locked and to buy some items in special areas. Keep in mind, however, that anything you can get with scraps will be temporary, only serving you for that single run. So if you still have some left at the end, don't make the mistake of mindlessly spending your scraps to open all of the chests, as you won't be getting anything useful. Save your scraps as much as you can if you don't need to use them, and upon returning to town, all of them will be converted to bits, which is the main currency in this game. Admittedly, the ratio is not great, but a bit of extra money is always better than no extra money at all. A more efficient way to make bits, however, is by selling things. This can be a bit scary if you're the type of player who likes hoarding, but in Linked, the reality is you won't make that much from quests. Most items can be used in one way or another, whether that's cooking to bond with the residents, crafting new weapons, making furniture to decorate with, but as you play you will get to know what's most important for you to keep, and overall most materials are okay to sell and fairly easy to acquire if you need them back. The only thing, very important thing to remember is do not sell your hard drives. Yes, they sell for 1000 bits, it's very tempting, but you will need a lot of them for permanent upgrades, and you only receive hard drives after boss battles. You may also want to sell some of the furniture you've previously crafted or obtained from quests, but don't. First, go to Mason's workshop and recycle your furniture there, as the raw materials are more valuable than the furniture itself. For example, this street sign sells for 150, but once recycled, the materials sell for 168. It's not too big of an improvement, but let's look at another one. This computer sells for 400, but once recycled, the materials sell for 782, which is almost double. Depending on when you're watching this video, maybe just double check in game to make sure this hasn't changed. But right now, all of the furniture can be sold for a profit through recycling. It could also be a good idea to check if you have the crafting recipe for something before recycling it. And if you do, rest assured that the cost in materials to craft something is the same as what you get by recycling it. So you don't lose anything if you recycle an item and then decide to craft it back later. You can also make some money quickly at the beginning with fishing. And don't forget to mine the ores and harvest fruits from the trees regularly, as these resources do take some time to reappear. During Chapter 2, you will unlock Ivy the Researcher, who will give you access to a seed shop, and that will allow you to buy seeds for crops and more fruit trees for great passive income. By the way, little tip when you're planting, you don't have to click to place each seed one by one. Instead, you can hold down the left click on your mouse and move the cursor around with WASD, which will let you plant all of your seeds very quickly. Similarly, when harvesting, you can hold down the left click, move your mouse over the crops, and conserve some of your finger energy for the battles. If your fingers are well rested, yet you're still having a hard time, don't hesitate to have a look at the gameplay settings, where there's quite a few ways to personalize your experience. You can change the difficulty so the game is designed to be on standard, the default setting for a nice challenge, but you can switch to the story difficulty to reduce by 20% the damage you receive, or even cozy for 50% damage reduction, which will let you breeze through the missions so you can spend more time relaxing and decorating your town. There is also a useful setting to make it so you can just press once to toggle sprinting instead of holding a key the whole time, which can get tedious. Lastly, you can choose whether you want the weapon loot to be fully random, or to stick to whatever weapon class you have at the moment, which is good if there's a specific class you don't want to get away from. If you would like to dive deeper into what weapons you can get, then you can open the Body OS while in town, and from there, in the Armory tab, you can disable weapons and even some of the mods so that they don't appear on your runs. For example, I don't like using the Resonator weapon class too much, so I disabled all of those, but even with the classes that I do like, after having crafted a lot of weapons, it can be useful to disable the ones that are not as interesting. You can even see stats like how much damage you've dealt with a weapon, or how often you picked a certain mod, so it's definitely worth taking a look at the Armory tab. As I was trying to get familiar with the game, I will admit I did die a few times even on the first chapter. Things got a bit easier once I found where the missions, other than the ones for the main quest, were located, using these tabs at the bottom of the mission screen. If you're having a bit of a hard time, I would recommend trying to progress as much as possible with the Unibot requests first. For example, helping Chip the Tinkerer will allow you to get your first battle companion who can fight alongside you and even revive you, which is so helpful, especially if you're playing by yourself. You will unlock this feature no matter what at the end of Chapter 1, but it is faster to get it through the side quest. Smithy is also very useful for unlocking new weapons, as well as permanent class upgrades and field upgrades, which are the ones you have to save your heart drives for, and they will make such a big difference. So I would suggest prioritizing Smithy and Chip, but all of the side quests are useful for the different shops, so don't sleep on them. Once you start unlocking residents, they will sometimes ask you for favors, and these are typically very simple quests to boost your affinity with them, but you should know that favors reset every time you go on a mission. So let's say you start a favor, someone asks you to catch 5 gillybots, that's how fish is called in this game. You catch 3 out of 5, you go on a mission. When you come back, that favor is just gone, you failed it. So if you want to do favors, make sure you complete them before leaving the town. Also, kind of basic, but don't forget to regularly visit Sparkhold. This is where you can spend your soul sparks, these pink balls you collect by defeating enemies and completing quests, and those can be used for permanent passive buffs, such as a higher maximum health and spark powers like First Aid. While on the topic of spark powers, don't forget that they fully recharge whenever you enter a new area. So if you have the First Aid power ready to be used when you're at the end of an area, before moving on, you can use it, and then in the next area, you will be able to use it again right away. Spark powers also slowly recharge on their own over time, but only for as long as there are enemies left. So let's say you really want to use your first aid before continuing, it can be worth running around or hiding for a bit to let it recharge before eliminating everyone. Lastly, this is more of a basic general tip, but if you don't play a lot of roguelites or games with combat like this one, I think it can help. In Linked, Banner of the Spark, dodging is super important. No matter what weapon class you play with, you will have to dodge often. While your character is doing the dodging animation, you won't take damage, and that is even if you're touching a projectile or you're still inside the area of an attack, so don't be shy to dodge a lot. Things can get a bit chaotic and it might seem hard at first to keep up with what's happening, but whenever an enemy is about to attack, they will have this yellow exclamation mark above them. Just pay attention to these marks, be careful and dodge when they appear, then get more offensive when they're gone and you'll be fine. So that is pretty much it. I hope you were able to learn a few things and that you're having a good time with Linked Banner of the Spark. Feel free to share your own tips and tricks in the comments. Thanks to Dreamhaven for sponsoring this video. Check out the game using the link in the description. Leave a like and subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you all in the next video.